Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video, we'll look at a brand new game coming to Kickstarter called Sprocketforge. This is a new one from Sophisticated Cerberus Games. It is a 2 to 5 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours to play, and is a competitive game where players are going to be competing throughout the game to gain renown. And at the end of the game, whoever has the most will be the winner. So in the game itself, you are going to be playing gnomes, and you have your own factory that produces artifacts. And throughout the game, there's going to be different orders that you will have, and you are going to try to complete those and gain renown points. And whoever is able to accomplish this the best will be the winner at the end of the game. So in this video, I'm going to be playing through the game, showing you the first, middle, and end few rounds to give you a better idea how this one plays and help you decide whether or not this is one you want to back on Kickstarter. Now, as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. It's one of these ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow and be able to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, as I'm constantly dropping new crowdfunding videos, teaching videos, playthroughs, unboxings, and many others, hit that notification bell and I'll let you know whenever I drop new stuff. So before heading into the video, I do also want to point out that all the materials here are prototype materials and are subject to change, and it'll look a lot better in the final production copy of the game. I also have an overview video if you just want to get the main features of the game and see a couple sample turns. I'll have a link up to that one in the top corner. And let's go ahead and head to the table and we'll see how this one plays. So before getting into the video, there are a couple of corrections that I need to make, as the designers have made some adjustments to the game after I did this filming and returned the game, so I wasn't able to implement them here, but I just wanted to make you aware of it as you are watching the videos to decide whether or not you want to back this game. So first off, there is a solo mode that is going to be added to the game as well now, so if for those of you that are interested in solo mode, that is going to be an option. And there's been some adjustments to the game itself. So in the videos, as you're going to watch, during a player's turn, that player has to perform an action from a selection of different actions. And in the videos you're going to watch, there are 4 different actions a player can take. 2 of those actions are the take order action and the cleanup action. Those actions the designers felt really weren't very powerful in their own right, so they decided to combine those actions into a single action to make it more powerful and desirable. As you're going to see in the video, I don't really take either one of those actions too often, as there's other actions that are more beneficial to me, and I can basically supplement some of the different things that I'm doing within my building of the engine building aspect to kind of compensate for those actions. So they really weren't very useful to me. And so the designers have kind of looked at that in other videos and decided it's just better to combine those actions to make them a more powerful and more optimal choice for the player. So other than that, there are a couple of corrections that I need to point out as well. As you're watching these videos, just keep these things in mind, as these were errors that I made. So first off, in the playthrough video especially, you're going to see this where when the active player goes, other players can do a follow-up action. Now that follow-up action is an optional action. The player is not forced to do that, which I was kind of thinking that the player had to in the video. So you're going to see me doing that with the other players having to rotate their dial or take some sort of optional action based on whatever the primary action was. So just keep in mind that is an optional action. The player does not have to perform anything as a follow-up action if they don't want to. The other big thing is with the favor cards. So when I discarded a favor card, it was placed face down. Those are actually going to be placed face up. Also, during setup, the designers have decided to remove each player receiving a favor card to start the game with. And the reason why is, and you're going to see that in the video, is that whoever is the first player and takes an action, if they take certain actions, it opens them up to other players playing that favor card to do an early petition and get some big victory points early in the game that can kind of give the other player or players some advantage at the early points in the game. So they have decided to remove that possibility and to give all the players an even playing ground and not kind of penalize that first player or first couple players for taking other actions and leaving themselves at a potential disadvantage. So just some stuff to keep in mind as you watch the video. So let's go ahead and head back in and we'll see how this goes. All right, so before moving into the game, there's a couple of additional things I have to handle for setup. So first off, each one of the players is going to start with a common card. And they will also have a random merchant card. So we'll just take one off of the top for each player. Okay. Now each player, starting with the first player, is going to do a snake draft for 2 of the enchantments. And so what a snake draft is the first player will select the first one, which could be one of the three, or blind draw off the top. Then it'll go to the next player in clockwise order and continue around the table until the last player selects. Once that player has selected their first enchantment, then that player will start again choosing another enchantment, and then it'll kick back around in counterclockwise back to the first player. So first player will make the first selection and the last selection. All right, so first player, that player gets to choose. And I've got some winds that I need, or air, right off the bat. So I think this one would probably be a good one to start off with. When I've made my selection, then I will also plug that in to one of my sprockets and reveal a new one. So then it's going to go to the other player to make that selection. So I think I'm going to try a blind draw off the top. All right, not bad, not bad. So let's go ahead and do that. And then again, I get to make that selection again, as I'm only playing a 2-player game. So this player gets to make another selection. And do another blind draw off the top. All right, that was pretty good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and slot that one in as well. And then it goes back to the first player to make his final selection. And I don't really like any of those either, so I'm going to do another blind draw off the top, which worked out. That's pretty good. All right. All right, that is, both players have gotten their selection. Each player is going to start with a favor card that is of a value 1. And I've already done all of my decks and all that, so ready to move into the game now. So it's going to be the first player's turn to start off, and the game itself is going to be played over an undefined number of rounds. During each round, each player is going to get to take a turn, and on a player's turn, that player will perform one main action from a selection of 4 different possible main actions, which are to produce, take orders, clean up, or petition. And then a player can perform some of the free actions that are listed. These can be done either before the main action or after the main action. And then the player will be able to complete any orders that player is able to. And then at the end of that player's turn, that player is going to rotate their sprockets 1 spot to the next active icon, which is going to be below each one of the sprockets. So currently this player has a air and a water in their active area. All right, and then this is going to continue going round after round until one of the players reaches 30 renown. At that point, that is going to trigger the end of the game, where all players will have an equal number of turns, and then the players are going to go through one final produce phase. And then each one of the players will have one final produce phase where the other players are not going to get to do a follow-up action. And then that'll end the game, and when the players are going to total up all the renown. All right, so getting into it, the first player is going to start us off, and that player is going to choose. So I've got a couple here. I don't have enough wind or air yet to complete this one. So I'm going to need to build up a little bit more. I can complete that one though if I do a production or a produce action. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I think so. I think I am going to go ahead and do that. So in order to do that, I'm going to look at each one of the bottom areas of my sprockets, and I will gain the resources of those different sprockets. So this one's going to get me an air, and this one will get me a water, and I'll add those to my mana pool. From there, I can also do free actions. I cannot do those in between performing the main action. So if I'm in the middle of doing my main action, I cannot do free actions. I can do those either before or after. And my free actions are, I can choose to reset one of the areas in the market, refresh it, basically removing all of the cards and dealing out new cards or tiles. Or I can disenchant, which allows me to remove my enchantment disc from my sprocket, and I'll gain any of the mana that is on there at this point, which you'll be able to add mana, as you're going to see a little bit later, to those different empty areas. and then you will gain any other benefits from it, and that is simply going to be discarded and removed from your sprocket. So it can be helpful, but it also is going to diminish what you can do. All right, so I don't really want to do either one of those at this point. So then I'm going to move into the final part of my turn where I get to complete orders. So this one here allows me to spend 1 mana of my choice from those that I have. So it's a wild one, and it will get me a new one of the enchantments, and then it won't grant me any renown points. Actually, I think I am going to do a free action. I think I'm going to refresh the tiles. So these are all going to be placed on the bottom of the stack, and I will reveal 3 new ones. Okay, so that actually helps me. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and spend the water. So that is going to go into my exhaust, and that will slowly build up over time, and it's going to go from top to bottom and left to right. And you'll see how that works in a little bit here. And then this, so I'm going to complete this. So this can just be added back to the top of this deck, as all of those cards are exactly the same. This one can be slid over, and then I will choose one of these different tiles to gain. And I think I'm going to take this one here. So that one I can slot into one of the choices there. So I'm going to go ahead and put that one in there. And I think that will be it for right now, as there's nothing else I can do. So at that point, then any mana that's left in the pool, I have to either place in empty spots on my sprockets, or if I don't have any, then I has to go into the exhaust where it'll start clogging up things. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that one in there, and there's nothing else I want to do at this point. So then these are going to be turned 1 space clockwise. And that's it. So that player's turn is pretty much done. Now, before I almost forgot. So when that player does the main action, each other player gets to do a follow-up action. So all the other players are always active, no matter whose turn it is. So for produce, the follow-up action for this player is to either choose one of the 4 resources that player wants to gain, or that player can rotate their sprockets 1 point. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a Earth mana, and that goes into my mana pool. And that was that player's follow-up action. And then I also have to refill this slot. So as soon as a player takes a tile or card, you refill those slots, even if that player has additional cards to select. All right, so that is player 1's turn. That is done. So over to player 2 now to go. So player 2 can do a produce action as well if that player wants to, or there's another option that player has as well. All 4 of the options. The take orders action allows that player to take 3 orders from different selections, either from the commoner, the merchant, or the noble orders. With the cleanup action, it allows that player to remove up to 3 of the different mana in that player's exhaust. And then the final one is to petition, and that allows the player to select one of the houses to petition to gain renown points and gets to carry out the ability, as long as that player can meet the requirement on the bottom of the card, which is the number of mana that player has in their exhaust. So for example, with this one here, the green one, it would be 0 to 4. So I could actually do that one right now and gain 4 renown points. Or this one here, it gives me 5 renown points. This card cannot be followed, and it is the least vented mana. So right now, this player does have the least vented mana out of all the players. So that player could actually complete that one, and that would get me 5 points. That really does sound pretty good. So I think that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do a petition. So in order to do that, I have to discard a favorite card of my choice that's worth a point. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll just place that one up there. Go ahead and reveal it. Place that up there. And I'm going to go ahead and complete this. Now, normally, other players will be able to follow suit as long as those players can meet the vented mana conditions on their card, and they have to discard a favor as well. They just don't get to carry out the middle effect. But this particular card blocks other players from following anyways. So there's no other benefits here. This player gets 5 renown points. And then this card is simply going to be discarded. I'm just going to place it face up at the bottom of that stack. And when that card comes back up, then I'll shuffle that deck. All right, and a new card comes out. So this player does get to do a follow-up action still. It just will not be able, he cannot follow that petition. So the only other option is to rotate the gears one space. So again, I'll go ahead and rotate those. All right, so that is this player's main action. Now that player does have either free actions that player can perform, which let's see, what do I got here? I think I might do that. All right, so I'm pretty happy with, I think, where everything is. So I'm going to go ahead and do my orders. So I'm going to spend the 1 brown or 1 earth mana that I have to complete this common one again. It's not worth any renown, but I do get a enchantment tile. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here so that I have some open slots to place mana in. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, I think. Or do I want to? Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. All right, so that is going to end my turn. The other player took care of that player's follow-up, so now I'm going to rotate 1 space clockwise. All right, so that takes care of that player's turn. So at the end of each round, then you're again going to consult the renown and make sure that nobody has 30 points. If they do, that will trigger the end of the game. But in this situation, that is not the case. So it's going to move back over to the first player to take their turn for the new round. All right, and with that player, I think I'm going to just do a produce again. And so with this one, I'm going to gain this mana here. This one lets me transmute another player's mana. So I select one of the mana in that player's exhaust that I want to gain and add to my pool. So I need another air, so I'm going to go ahead and take that one. And then I also get to trash one of my mana. So I can choose any one of those to trash. And I know that player is after some brown mana. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one. So when that happens, all the rest of the mana get slide over, including the ones below it, so that, again, it's from top to bottom and left to right. All right, so I've handled the trash. That one gave me that, and then I transmuted. So that is all I can do there. And then I don't think I really want to do any free actions at the moment. So the other player does get to do the follow-up again. So that player gets to select one. And I'm going to go ahead and take another earth, as that is where I'm working towards that. So from there, then this player is going to go ahead and complete this card. It's going to cost that player 2 wins, and it's going to get him a upgrade. So I get to choose one of the upgrades to add in. And I think I'm going to take a trash one. And then this will be placed into one of the open areas on one of my sprockets. So I'm going to go ahead and place it here. Actually, let's go ahead and let's do it that way. That way then I'll be moving into that one. And that's also going to get me 2 renown. So I'm on the board now. I got some points. And then this is going to be discarded. So I'm just going to discard that up there for now. All right, that is the end of my turn. There's nothing else I want to carry out. I'm going to need to get some more orders. And that is it. So it is going to move over to player 2 to go. And player 2, what does player 2 want to do? I think I'm going to have to do a produce action, or I could do a take orders action as well to get me some more cards. Because I won't have enough at this point to get anything. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do a take orders action, and I'm going to get to select up to 3 orders. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here. I'll get to add that in there, and I get 2 more. I have a lot of earth. So maybe that one. And then I get to fill in. And I think I'll take this one. Okay. And that will take care of that. So then this gets to, I have to place this somewhere. Well, I could complete an order. I still have that, so that might be what I'll do as well. So as a follow-up, the other player can either draw a random merchant card, or that player can rotate their wheels. And I don't think I rotated at the end of my turn, so let me handle that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just take the random merchant card because I do need cards. So, all right, so I need some water. And then this player, I think I am going to complete this one. So I'm going to spend the earth and complete it. It's not worth any points, but I do get a enchantment. I'll take that one there because I do need some fire. And I'm going to go ahead and do it like that. These will slide over. All right, that is pretty much everything I want to do at this point. So then this is going to rotate. And that is the end of that player's turn. So again, at the end of the round, there's nothing, nobody is at 30. So that is going to end that round, and we're ready to move into the next round, starting with the first player. So at this point, I am going to take a couple rounds off camera, and then we'll be back about mid-game to see how our players are doing. All right, so moving back into the game here, both of our players are just about full, filled up all their sprockets with enchantments, and they're starting to add upgrades to them and all that. So I wanted to jump back in, and I'm ready to move into player one's turn. So player one is going to go ahead and do a produce again. So first off, this one lets that player transmute. So I'm going to take an earth. And then next I have an air. I gain an air here, and I also get to trash one because of my upgrade. So I'll trash that. And then that one doesn't grant me anything. All right, so I do have enough to complete that one there. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the other player gets to do a follow-up action. So that player gets to select one. And I'm going to go ahead and take another air. Just start building up some of that. All right, so that player's follow-up is done. So back over here, this player, I'm not going to do, I don't think I want to do any free actions. So moving into doing orders, I'm going to go ahead and complete this one here. So it's going to cost me 3 winds, or 3 air. So those will go in there. And it's going to get me 4 renown, so that puts me up to 9. I'm still a little bit behind, and then I either get to take a enhancement or enchantment, or I can take an upgrade. Do I want to finish that final sprocket for now? Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one here, and we'll go ahead and place that in there like that. And then this gets discarded. And that's a noble one, so I'll slide that over there. And I don't have anything else at the moment to do, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this one in there. And then rotate. Okay. And that is the end of my turn. So back over to player 2. Player 2 still working on those. If I do a produce, I'm going to get 2 earth, 1 fire, and I get to trash 2. So that would let me finish that one off. Well, I think, oh, forgot to refill that. So, yeah, I think I will I will do a produce action. All right, so that is going to let me trash 2. So I'm going to trash those 2. Those slide up. And so I handle that one. I get 1 earth here, and I get to transmute 1. And I'll transmute an air from my upgrade. The middle one doesn't give me anything. I get another earth there and a fire from the one at the bottom. All right, that is, so I have 2 earth, 2 air, and a fire. All right, so I could use these 2 to complete that one. So I think that's what I'm going to do, is I don't have enough to do anything else at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to go ahead and complete those 2. So that was a produce, so this player does get to do a follow-up. I'm going to take a water. All right, so this player is going to complete this one. So that is going to place those 2 in there. And I'm going to gain a favored card, so it's a 1. And I get 1 renown for that. And that will take care of that. And then I've got these 2 and this one that I can't do anything with for now. So I'm going to go ahead and place those in their different slots. I'm going to dump those all in there. All right, that is my turn. So again, I will rotate. And that is it, I think, that I want to do. So that is the end of player 2's turn. Again, we're not at that point yet where we have the 30. So over to player 1 to start a new round. All right, so I think player 1 is going to go ahead and do a petition action at this point. So with the, well, I would have enough to complete that, though, as well, if I do that this turn. Well, I could do it next turn as well, because I'll have that and have that. Yeah, I think I will do the petition this round. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a favor 1 card. And do I want the upgrade or do I want the 2 favor? I think I'll take the 2 favor cards with this one here. So this is a 0 to 4 event, so I'm good there. And the other player cannot follow up with that. So the other player is simply going to just rotate 1 spot, as that player has too much in there right now. So that's going to give me 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I finally move ahead. And I get to draw 2 favor cards. And I get to keep 1 and discard the other. So again, I'll reveal a new one. Okay. And 2 favor cards. I get a 1 and a 1. Okay. So, yeah, I don't really want to reveal that, so I'll just place that at the bottom there. Now, it does say to discard, so I guess that'll be fine. All right, that is all of the stuff that I can do in my turn. I don't have enough to complete an order, so I am going to have to block at that one. So unfortunately, next turn that I will not have that, unless this player does another produce action. So let's move over to player 2 and see what player 2 is going to do. So player 2, if I do a produce action this time, I can transmute, which that player doesn't have any earth. I'll get 1, 2 earth and a fire and an air. So not really helpful for what I have here. So I think this turn, I'm just going to go ahead and do a take orders action. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one here. It gives that. Ooh, 2 fire. That's pretty good. Or that one's pretty good too. So I think I'll do this one as my second one, and third one. Third one, I could also complete that. Let me drop down there. So I think I will do I'm going to do a blind draw off the top here. Whoop, that should be a merchant one. I don't know how that got in there. Noble, okay. So pretty much exactly what that one was. All right, that is my turn. This player gets to do the follow-up, so it's either a merchant card or I can turn. I think I will take the merchant card. So 2 fire. All right, that is, and I think pretty much that's everything I want to do at this point. I don't have anything in my pool, so that is going to end my turn. I get to rotate 1, and then it's back over to player 1 as we have not met those conditions yet. So player 1. Player 1. What does player 1 want to do? So I could get a couple of water there. So I could also do take orders action potentially here. Might be a good option. So otherwise, yeah, it's not going to help me out tremendously otherwise. So I think I will also take a take orders action. And we can take this one here. And I need some earth, but I do have some, so I think I'll take that one there. New one comes out. And 2 more earth and a water. No fire. I think I'll try another blind draw off the top. So almost the same. I'm going to go ahead and drop the 2 fire 1. That way then I have that. And then the other player is going to just take 1 off of the merchant deck. So, oh, that worked out in that player's favor. That was pretty good. And I don't have anything else to do at the moment. So rotate. And then it is over to player 2 to go. So player 2. Player 2, what do I want to do with you? I'm going to... I think I am going to do a produce action at this point. So I'm going to, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So it's going to get me a fire. And I also get to transmute 1. So I'm going to take one of the airs from the upgrade. I get an earth. I get this one here. I get that one there. And I get to trash 1. So I'll trash an earth. And that slides up. All right, so I've got 2 earth, 2 of the air, and a fire. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do my once per turn. I can disenchant a gear to gain its stored mana and resolve its active production symbols. So it doesn't have an active production symbol, but I will gain the 2 more air, and then this is going to be discarded. As I really wanted those 2 extra air there, I'm going to go ahead and spend those so that I can complete that one. So that's going to get me 3 points, 1, 2, and 3, and it's also going to get me 2 more favors. So I get a 1 and a 2. Nice. So that'll go there. And I still have 2 earth. But the earth isn't going to do me any good right now. And I don't have anything for the fire either. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop all those in there. That was a produce action, so this player does get to gain a resource of that player's choice. So I'm going to take a water, as I need some water, and this gets rotated. All right, that is the end of that player's turn. That is the end of the round, and we're back over here. So I think at this point, I am going to take a few more turns off camera, and we'll be back a little bit later to see how things are going. All right, so we've moved farther into the game. Both of our players are pretty close still, and Red just pulled off a big turn, completing 2 noble orders where the player was able to move up 6 points. So that's why his exhaust is pretty well capped off there. So he's going to have to work on getting that down a little bit more. But he was able to get 3 favor cards for it as well. So he's got quite the little stack there, hoping to have plenty at the end of the game. All right, so ready to move back into player 1's turn. So player 1 is going to go ahead and do a petition action, as the other player definitely will not be able to follow that. All right, so I'm going to spend the 1 favor to play this one. So I'm going to do Magnus Banner, and this one's going to get me 4 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and it lets me take all stored mana. So I'll go ahead and drop that below there. Take that. And that lets me collect all of my stored mana on my board. The other player cannot follow up with that, so that player has to turn. And then my player is going to also, I'm going to go ahead and try to complete a couple cards here. So I could do the 2 water and the earth there to get 3 more points out of that. And then I have 2 earth left, which isn't enough to do anything at the moment. So I think that's what I will do, because that's probably the better option. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off that. So that's going to get me 3 more points. 1, 2, 3. And it gets me a favor token. Ah, nice. So 2 more points there. And that will finish that off. And the other player already did the turn. So this player has to place these back out. So I'm going to put those on there. And I don't think I want to do anything else at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and turn. And that is my turn. So over to player 2. So player 2, I've got, so I would be able to trash 2, and I'd get a water, an air, transmute. So not super helpful at the moment. So I think I'm just going to trash. So I'm going to go ahead and drop 3 of these browns here and place that up there. The other player can follow up doing a clean as well. So that player, yep, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of a brown. And then this player, I cannot complete anything at this moment, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn. Back over to player 1 to go. So player 1, so I get an earth, an air, a water. I get trash 1, transmute 1, so trash 2. Got those 2 there. No, I think at this point, I am going to go ahead and I think I'm going to take some orders. So what do I want? I think before taking that action, though, I am going to carry out a free action and lets me refresh. So I'm going to refresh this one here because I don't really care for any of those. So, and then I get to reveal 3 new ones. So hopefully something a little bit better there. So 2 waters and 2 earth. Okay. I think I will take that as my first one. Second one, I'm going to take this just to have one. And then as my last one, I'm going to take, do I take one off the top here? I'm going to take a merchant one off the top. Okay, not too bad. All right, so that is my turn. The other player could go ahead and take, I'm going to take a blind merchant one off the top there. So 2 air. And I don't think there's anything else I can do at this point. I don't have anything in my pool, so rotating. That is my turn. Over to player 2. So player 2, I am going to, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a produce action. So I'm going to get the fire there. I get a fire here. I will get an earth and I get the transmute one. So I get a water. Yep. And that is, I think that's everything I want to do. So the other player gets to do a free one as well. Do I want to turn? Do need a couple of waters. No, I think I will just produce one. So what do I want? I'm going to get an air. I'm going to take a water. I think that will hopefully help me out. All right, so then this player is going to go ahead and spend the 2 fires to complete this one here. So it lets me gain a upgrade and I get a favor. So it's just a point and an upgrade. Which one do I want? I think I'm going to take the trash one again. And I'm going to place that there. Yep. All right, so that is done. I didn't get any renown points for that. So then these go back out. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that one there and that one there. All right, that is my turn. This is going to get rotated. And back over to player 1 as we have not met the endgame conditions yet. All right, so player 1. I'm going to also do a produce. So it lets me transmute 2. So I'm going to take the water. And do I take an earth? I think I'll take an earth. I think that will hopefully help me out there. All right, for that, so then here I get the trash one. Here I get an air. I will collect this one here. And I get the trash one there. All right, so I've got 2 earth, 2 water, and an air. So I could do those 2 for that. And then I would need at least one more for this one. But that would give me the points I need to finish this up and hopefully give me a couple extras. So I would have to do, well, I don't think there's a way to get another water at this point, as I only have that and neither one of these are in their active slots. Yeah, I will not be able to end at this turn unless I decide to do that, which would let me complete this one. And then I'm just going to sit on that pretty much for this turn. I will probably be able to get that next turn then. So I think that's what I'll do is I will go ahead and now this player does get to do a produce. So it gets 1. And I'm going to go ahead and take a fire. I think for that. All right. So going back to this player, I'm going to go ahead and spend this. So 1 there and 3 there. All right, and that will complete that big one. That's going to get me 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get a favor. So just 1 point there. And that is it for that. And then this one gets stored again. So I'll go there on that. And then this gets rotated. Okay. That is my turn there. And so now it's going to move over to player 2 to go. Now, at the end of the round, it is going to trigger Endgame, as I have already moved past 30. So this player's turn, I am going to... These should be up here. So those are going to fill in there. What do I need to do here? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go and clear these just to see what comes up. Let's see if I get something better here. All right, so I've got, oh boy, 4, 4, and 3. Okay. All right, so I could probably work with that. All right, so I am going to do a produce action. So that's going to get me an order card of my choice. I'm going to go ahead and take this one here. So then this gets refilled. And that was that. Then I get a fire. And I can transmute one from the other player. So I will transmute a water. All right. And then over here I get an earth. And I get to trash 2. So I'm going to trash 2 of the fires. All right. And that's everything as far as that. Now the other player does get to produce 1. And what do I want? I will take... Probably getting that would probably be my best bet at this point. So I'm going to take a water. All right. That is everything there. So then I can go ahead and resolve. So I'm going to spend these 3 here to complete this one. So that lets me trash 4, and I get 3 points. 1, 2, 3. I get to trash 4. I'm going to trash the 3 waters and an earth. All right, so then these slide up and fill in. Okay, and I got my 3 points ready and handled that. And I have 1 here, so I could scrap that. And that would get me the ones there. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do my disenchant. So that gets me another fire. And I get to convert 1. Yeah, take that. And, or transmute 1, and then this all goes away. So those go back into my area. This goes back in the supply. This gets discarded. All right, and then I have all this to work with, so I will go ahead and complete this one as well. And then these will get stored. So this is going to go up here. I'm going to pick up 3 more points. 1, 2, 3, and I get a favor card. 2 points. Ooh, that's going to help. All right. And then these have to be stored, as I have nothing else to do with them at this point, and I have no open slots. So these, unfortunately, are going to go into the garbage. So I'm going to do that, and I think I can replace them. Well, I only have 1, so it's probably not going to matter anyways. All right, so then this is going to turn, and that is that player's turn. So now that triggers the end of the round. So at this point, each of the players are going to get to do one final produce step, and neither player is going to get to do a follow-up to this. So moving over to player 1, I get to do a produce. So I'm going to get a earth, a winds, or an air. I get to transmute 1. I got to figure out what I want to do with that. I get to trash 1. I get a water and a water. And I don't get the trash 1 there either. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 water, an earth, and an air. So I need the earth and the air for that. I could do that one there, or I could get that as well. So I think I will transmute. I need a brown. I got the transmute for that I haven't resolved yet, so I got a brown there. So that'll get, or wait. No, I'm not going to do the brown. I'm going to do a water. And then I'm also going to disenchant this one here, so I gain those as well. And then this goes away. All right, so that gets me my second there, so I'll be able to complete all 3 of those, and then that's going to get stored. Whew. All right. So then I'm going to go ahead and handle that real quick. So I get to drop all those in there. And this goes here, and then I get to handle all 3 of these. All right, so first off, I get to trash 2. So I don't think it probably doesn't really matter too terribly much. So I get the trash 2, and I get 2 upgrades. Again, these probably don't matter that much, so I'm just going to drop that one there and that one there. And then I get 4 renown. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get 2 favor cards. So a 2-pointer and a 2-pointer. Ooh, nice. That might really do it for me. All right, that is player 1's turn. So over to player 2 to do player 2's production or produce step. I get this one here, I get that one there, and I get a fire. And unfortunately, I needed 2 air for that. I do get to trash 1 here, so I'll trash that, and these will just basically go right back in here, and then this one gets exhausted. There's nothing else I can do at this point. So that is going to end the player's turns. So now we're going to move into the favor. So I'm going to go ahead and start with player 2 because he's got a huge stack, so it'll be fun to see where we go with this. So there's 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 2 points, 1, 2, 1 point, 2 points, 1, 2, 2 more points, 1, 2, 1, and 2 more points, 1, 2. So we're up to 41 there. So will player 1 have enough to take the lead? All right, so I got 2 points with that one. 1, 2, 2 points with that one. 1, 2, 1, 1 for tie. 2 more points. 1, 2, 1, and 2, 4 more points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo! So player 1 blazed ahead with the favor points as well. All right, and that wraps it up. So player 1 finished off with 48 points, and player 2 had 41. So Blue was able to pull off the victory and did very well in this game. I hope you found the video entertaining and helpful in deciding on whether or not this is one you want to back on Kickstarter. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing by the Kickstarter's page and drop any questions you have there as well in the comment section. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, I'll see you later.